Hello and welcome back to my workshop. Doing a review today of clamps, wood clamps. You can never have too many wood clamps, but the problem is some of them can really be quite expensive. So I think it's important to know what's good, what you need, what they're good for. So I thought I'd try and just pass on a bit of what I've discovered. So I'll start with the conventional bar clamps. So this is what I started with, B&Q. Excuse me referring to my notes, but I want to give you the right information. These are Magnusson, as I say, from B&Q. This is a 300mm one, and I paid £17 for that, and I've got two of those. So that's what I started with, just really because they were affordable. Now the clamp power on these is very, very good. It really will. So once it's locked, it really has got amazing clamp power. So for holding stuff together while it glues, very, very good, and it doesn't leave any sort of mark. They have these nice soft pads and rubberized pads that don't leave any marks on the woodwork. So a good clamp, but relatively expensive. I think £17, as in I couldn't have as many as I want because that would soon add up. But I am thinking of getting another couple of these. I'll explain why. So then I also bought this from B&Q. This is also a Magnusson clamp. It's a 700mm. I've got four of these, and I paid £20 for each of them. Really, really good clamps. Basically exactly the same as this, just with a longer rod. Everything else is exactly the same. It's the same mechanism, and everything's exactly the same. Just a longer bar. And it really, what I can't decide at the moment, I want a few more bar clamps. I can't decide whether to get the 300 or the 700, because the 300 is £17 and the 700 is only £3 more expensive, and it's obviously a lot more capability of clamping stuff. That's a good old chunk of stuff you can clamp with that. Although, as I found when I had these, they're never big enough. I was ending up daisy chaining these together to clamp various things, which is not ideal. But I can't decide which to buy more of, because these seem better value for money, given that they're only £3 more. But actually, they're quite sturdy, quite heavy, and they can really kind of get in the way of what you're actually clamping. It's relatively small. So I haven't yet decided whether I'm going to go for more 30mm or 700mm. Good clamps. I would definitely still buy them early on, and as I say, I'm looking to buy more, so that's, I think, a good endorsement of the fact that they are good clamps. I did also buy second-hand off Facebook Marketplace this one, which is an Irwin, which I believe is a Screwfix make, or certainly Screwfix sell them anyway. And it's a kind of 1,200, 1,300mm, about 4 foot, something like that. I've got two of these. As I say, I bought them second hand. Too expensive for me to buy new. I can't remember what I paid for them. No, I haven't got written down what I actually paid for this one. So it's a good clamp, but again, it's really, really heavy. I mean, unless you are clamping something that is that long, they're a bit unnecessary, to be quite honest. So I probably wouldn't buy any more of those. Two's probably enough just for a really long job. I have several G clamps. Not much to say about those, but I can't give you a price or anything, because I've had them for donkey's years. I think I've got about 4 of these. Problem I find with the G clamps is it's a relatively small. Well, first of all, they've got the best clamping power out of any of these, so you can really clamp stuff down. They take ages to adjust in and adjust out, which is a pain. With one of these things, you just unlock it and bam, or if it's at full extension, these are really, really quick to adjust. And they're pretty good clamping power as well. These have got awesome clamping power, but they take ages to adjust, and also because you're putting all the pressure onto these tiny little bits here, they do really easily leave marks on the wood. Like, I don't know if you can see, that maybe. I don't know if I can show that to you, but there's rings on that from when I've clamped. So what I've got is I've got these sacrificial pieces of wood, and I put those either side of whatever it is I'm clamping, so that actually I'm putting the pressure through these pieces of wood. So I've still got the same clamping power, but it's spread. I've also covered them in parcel tape, so that if any glue seeps out because I'm clamping so hard, these pieces of wood, these sacrificial pieces of wood, don't end up getting glued to the main workpiece. So I did think about buying more G clamps, but to be quite honest, I think the fact that it takes so long to adjust them means they're not for me. I don't think G clamps are my way to go. I've got lots of these. I've got probably bought, these are from B&Q. Bizarrely, I haven't actually written down how much I paid for them. I think they're quite reasonable. Like, I think £7 or £8, and for £7 or £8, I think it's about £7, £8. £7 or £8, you get 2 large ones like that, 2 medium ones like that, and 2 small ones. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So I've got 20 of these big ones, so I'll have 20 big ones, 20 medium ones, 20 small ones, which might seem a bit excessive, but actually they've got really quite strong, I mean, you get a good workout using this, but they really do have quite good clamping ability. That's pretty solid. And the little ones, you know, obviously if the smaller you go, the better they are on small items. So for purely just holding pieces of wood together, and what I'll quite often do is if I'm gluing something and I want to put a piece of wood across, just to hold everything flat, I'll quite often clamp that with these. They're really versatile, get into really small spaces. I would highly recommend these. They only serve a certain purpose, but I think those are some of the best clamps I've got for what they do and for how little they cost. If you think about the fact that you're getting 2, 4, 6 clamps for £7, that's pretty good value for money. These were from Screwfix, and the guy who did the photography on the website deserves a medal, because I thought I was buying quite big clamps. I thought I was buying something this sort of size. When the sales assistant bought these two, they were tied together like this, so it didn't even look like there was 2, it looked like there was just 1, and they came out just like that, no packaging, just tie wrapped together. And I thought, I'm going to send those back. They'll be absolutely no use for anything. Funnily enough though, I actually, once I got them home, also almost in order to not lose face, I bought them anyway, so that it didn't seem like I didn't know what I was ordering. So I bought them home, used them, and I've actually subsequently been back and bought another set. They were £9 for a pair. They claim to have the same clamping power as these. I don't believe that for a moment, having used them. But having said that, they have all the advantages of the big clamps, that they're really quick and easy to adjust. They do have pretty good clamping power. Yeah, it's pretty good. But the main thing that they are is they're so small that you can get them into the tiniest of spaces, get them right into little nooks and crannies, and for what they are, I'm tempted to actually get more of these, I think. I've decided, when I was looking for small clamps, decided against the G clamps. I think I might get another set of these, maybe another 4 of these. They really surprised me how useful those were, and 2 of those for £9 is not bad, really. So as I say, those are Screwfix ones. I would buy those again. Obviously you've got a fairly small, I think they call them 10-inch, so that's not a huge amount of clamping there. But then This one is pretty similar in terms of how much it will clamp, and this one was £17 for one, and this was £9 for two. You know, apples and oranges, you can't really compare them, but I think those are really useful, and much more useful than I ever thought they possibly could be. And then my absolute favourite clamp. You could say it's not really a clamp, but it is. It's a band clamp. And I bought this because when I was building a large frame on the floor, I had to actually, and at the time the biggest thing I had was these. I had to daisy chain these because they weren't big enough to go across, so I'd open this up to its maximum, and then I would have this on one end of the frame. I would then put another clamp the same size, daisy chained onto it, and yeah, it wasn't ideal. I didn't have the really long Irwin ones at the time, but these band clamps go out to, I think it says on the literature that it's 4 meters of 4 meters of material, of band. So that's a huge. You can get that round a frame. You know, I'm not building frames bigger than that. They were £7 each. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 of them at the moment, and I've quite often got all 6 of them in use all at the same time, because it's not just for building frames. Almost anything I build, one of the guys on YouTube once said, learn to build boxes, because basically carpentry, everything is a box. And he's not far off true, really. Everything pretty well is a box of some sort. And they're just, even if they're not the only clamp I'm using on a particular piece, just being able to put the piece down on the worktop and put this round it, and then tighten it up, pull it in, and it just holds everything in place. Even sometimes I'll use them to just hold everything in place while I put all the other clamps on. But honestly, these, and there's some quite expensive versions of these. I looked on Amazon, I think it was, and you can pay a lot of money for one of these. They have all sorts of fancy sort of ratcheting devices and all that sort of stuff. With this one, this is quite simple. You basically pull out as much as you want, pull it tight, pull this lever here which locks this, so that's now got everything held in place, and then as you turn this screw, it basically just moves this bar down, which just tightens the band, and that's enough to get more than enough pressure for anything. I've not found that to be a limiting factor at all. And as I say, I think those are probably my absolute favourite clamps, and the most versatile, the ones that I've been able to use for the widest variety of uses. So yeah, in summary, I would get band clamps, minimum of 4 myself, personally. I would then get a couple of 4 bar clamps. I don't know what size, maybe the 700mm. I would definitely get myself some of these Screwfix clamps, which look hilarious but are actually brilliant. And I would probably get a few packs of these B&Q cheap clamps, which are just good for a variety of different things. So there aren't any clamps that I've got, possibly other than the large Irwin ones. There aren't any clamps that I probably wouldn't buy again. I probably wouldn't buy these again. There's nothing wrong with them. I just purely mean the size. I wouldn't buy a clamp. I probably wouldn't buy a bar clamp that big again. I've not found many uses for it, because I did buy it for going across these large frames that I was building, and actually now I'm using the band clamps to do that. So I don't really very often need a clamp that big, and it's so unwieldy and heavy as well. I mean, you know, you have to think about the weight. If you're putting your big bar clamp across here at the top of your structure, that weight is all, you know, weighing down what you're gluing, which could put stuff out of kilter. So I hope that's been useful. Lots of different clamps. You can never have too many. get some really cheap ones, have a few expensive ones, but you know, oh, and I can't go without obviously saying that the other clamps that I have are the ones that I've got a video on making my own wooden clamps. These are obviously the best because I made them. Really simple to make. I've built 6 of these, and particularly when I'm later this week, I'm going to be building a 1 meter clock, and I've got to glue together about 6 boards to be able to make that big slab of wood in the first place before I cut it. And I'll be using probably 4 of these, maybe all 6, but certainly 4 of these on this workbench here to hold the 6 planks together while they're gluing. And I've not found anything, in all seriousness, I've not actually found anything that you can buy that comes anything close to these clamps for that particular purpose, holding together multiple planks while you're gluing them together flat. And you want to keep them flat, you want to keep them compressed in sideways and down that way. So have a look at my video. They're really quite simple to make, quite cheap to make, and as I say, I haven't found anything professionally that you can buy that comes close to them for that particular purpose. So I hope that's been useful, and if you've got time to like the video, I'd really appreciate that. If you've got time to subscribe to the channel, I'd also really appreciate that. Get my numbers up, and it just makes it more worthwhile me making the videos. If you've got any questions, put those down in the comments section and I'll try and answer as many as I can. And thank you for watching, and stay safe.